Hi, this is Rob Leo, and in this tutorial, we're going to continue to look at Nearpod. So far, you saw how to create an account, log in with your Google account, explore the lessons from Nearpod's library, and even import your own Google slides. In the previous tutorial, I started to add activities to my slides presentation to make it more interactive, and that's where we'll pick it up. So let me sign in. It's going to connect with Google. Use my school account. And to see the work I've done so far, I'm going to go to my library. This is the one I've been working on. Let me just edit this for now. You saw me previously import my slides. To do so, I clicked on Add Slide, Add Content, and I used a slideshow where I used my Google Drive and imported my slides from there. Notice you can also add PowerPoint slides, PDFs, and PNG image files. Notice as well, in terms of adding content, you can add PhET simulations if you're a science teacher. There's a whole library you can include. They have them sorted by math and science by grade level. You can also add BBC video content, one of Nearpod's content providers, and again, you can search by different content areas. Unfortunately, not all of these are free to use. If you select video, for example, it looks enticing because YouTube is available, but it is only available for gold account members. So just another incentive to perhaps purchase Nearpod. But you could include video content of your own. The limit here is 20 megs in terms of the file size. So if you have YouTube videos and you needed to convert them and download them, they would work, but unfortunately, they have to be relatively short or small videos. In addition to adding content, I also added activities, and you'll see in a moment, I asked a variety of question types: open-ended, poll questions, quiz questions, draw it, and collaborate questions. The last two, fill in the blank and memory test, are for gold account members. I would encourage you to avoid those if you have the free account. You can also add content from the web, and I did that by adding a link to a YouTube video. So perhaps there is a nice workaround if you do want to include YouTube content in your presentation. In addition to adding all this content, notice you can move the slides around and place them where you'd like. The things you see that are image slides and text slides are from my Google Slides presentation. The Nearpod tools or activities I added after the fact are represented by blocks like this that say quiz or open-ended question, draw it, BBC video, etc. If I'm all set, what I'd like to do is save this. And again, it's going to appear in my library. And I want to run it with students. So if I hover my mouse, I can do a live lesson. And it will generate a code for me to share with my students. Now I could project this on the board, I could put it in Google Classroom, I could provide a link to it for students. I'm just going to show you a student view. So I have a separate browser here. Bring this over, and let me just see if I can set up my screen a little bit better for you. I'm just here at nearpod.com, and instead of signing in, I'm just going to identify as a student. And down below it says, for students, enter code to join a lesson. So I'm just going to type in the code that's here, LIXBN, all caps. And it will prompt the student to put in their name. Have something as other if you want. I would encourage you, you want to tell your students ahead of time what's going on, that you're going to collect data from this, that take it seriously, and of course to include their real name. We'll join the session. And what you'll notice on the right-hand side, I've got the teacher screen. On the left-hand side, I've got the student screen. Just make that a little smaller, just so you can see the two things side by side. Notice the student does not have any navigation tools. No matter what I click, nothing is happening. But if the teacher advances a slide, the student screen will also change. So the teacher can lockstep stuff from the student view. Notice also you can see how many people are in your presentation or your live session at the moment. If I click on this, it will give you a list of names of all of these students who are taking part in this presentation during this live session. There's also a student view to see this lesson from your student's perspective. So if you don't have student accounts that you can monkey around with, you can click the student view to see what that looks like. So my first quiz is now here. It's a 2-question quiz. That's why you have this preview slide ahead of time. The student can advance to go to the question. The teacher sees the feedback in real time. So the student screen does go to the questions themselves, while the teacher screen shows how the students are performing. So my first question, who's the founder of Islam? We'll say Muhammad. Actually, I needed to submit that. You should be able to see the student score. Again, it's happening in real time. So if the teacher is mobile, they don't have to present this in the front of the room. They can walk around. You can have this on your phone. You can take a Chromebook out and flip the screen around and use it as a tablet. You can carry the Chromebook around. I would encourage you to not project this on the screen because every student will have this presentation in front of them on a Chromebook. So no need really to project. The students can focus on their own screen. However, the teacher can still put information out to the students that isn't necessarily part of the presentation. Let's get this one incorrect. We'll say Rome and submit. And then we'll submit our responses. My answer has been submitted. The student does have the option to edit. Notice as well there is a menu. As a teacher, once I see all the students are done, notice this student has answered both questions. You got one correct and one incorrect. It gave you what answer the student submitted for each question. Teacher can then move on. Continuing with the lecture, teacher can then continue to provide information to the students. And when the teacher is ready, he or she can ask more questions. So once again, we have another quiz question. Let's submit that answer. Student gets confirmation. They can always go back and edit if need be. When the teacher is ready to move on, you'll see that since the student answered successfully, the teacher can then move on. More content. Next is a open-ended question, so the student can type in their answers. Notice there's a picture associated with this. The picture does represent the 5 pillars of Islam, but the teacher is asking in your own words, what are the 5 pillars? So the student can then type their answers in. When the student is ready, the student then can submit their answer and confirm their submission. Again, you should see the teacher screen reflected. If the teacher chooses to, they can share an answer with the student. Notice you can hide student names or show student names. This is for the teacher to perhaps not be prejudiced against what answers are coming in. But when the teacher shares this, it is pushed out to all the students without the name. So they don't know who is responding, but the teacher can share exemplars. They can share some common mistakes that students are making without necessarily embarrassing a student. Only the child that submitted that information would know that their information is being projected to the whole class. Very handy tool. When the teacher is all set, they can, of course, unshare, and it should take you back to the original slide. We have more content, and now we have a drawing question. There is a background image, and the students are now given the opportunity. In this case, the students are to draw on the screen. I'm going to wrap this up for now, but when I come back, you're going to see more of me completing this from the student perspective, and we'll look at how the results are then shared back with the teacher. But for now, thanks for listening.